mind. Can you get my phone for me, please?
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We are live. Just give us a few seconds here. Get some more people in. By the way, if you guys want to start typing your questions, go ahead. You guys can start typing questions, and we're about to go live. Well, we're already live. Just waiting on questions here. Let me see. All right. All right. We are live here on Instagram. Okay. Any info on Closed Guard, the movie? Thanks for asking, Matt. The info on the documentary is that we're very close. I've been saying that for well over a year now. We've had some issues of the script, and we had to rewrite some of it. Some of that we thought was we could have done a better job writing, and then some things that we've been correcting. You know, I've always had the concern of being as accurate as possible. So that has held back our production a little bit in the sense where, you know, we just want to make sure that everything is right. So that means sometimes we got to go back to the drawing board and rewrite things. And then we're missing music and translation pretty much, you know, and fixing the beginning of the documentary. We're going to have a very close to a final cut in about, I think it's supposed to be out in 2 days, or so we'll have like not the final cut, but close to a final cut. It's totally watchable, but you guys can't watch it yet. We are really aiming this summer. We want to be done before the end of the summer, and I think that's a very realistic goal. I'm very happy with the way everything's going, and I think you guys are going to love it. Okay? All right, guys, for everyone on Instagram, I'm answering questions on our feed on YouTube, okay? That's where we're trying. Right now, we got a question here. How often would you recommend a person train jiu-jitsu? Do you believe that progression is volume or time-based? Secondly, do you require any specific gi for visitors at your facility? As far as the gi, no. If you're just visiting, you can wear any gi. But as far as volume versus time, it's a bit of both. You know, like the more you can train without breaking your body, the better. But also you have to be worried about, you know, it's not one of those things that's going to happen overnight. Like it might take, you know, it takes years for you to really get where you want. So my recommendation, long story short, would be train as much as your time and health allows, and be patient about it. It takes years, and you're never really done. You know, you're always learning, and I'm learning new stuff all the time. You know, and yeah, so it's really more of a time thing. That'd be my recommendation. All right. What else, team? What else? You got any questions here on Instagram? I have the best. Let me show. All right. Okay, questions, guys? It's a Q&A, so you guys got to ask questions. Anything. I'm sure you guys got questions. I'll answer the ones on Instagram, too. I'm not getting a whole bunch of questions here, so unless you guys start asking, I'm going to go on YouTube, on Instagram, and start answering questions. Anything you guys want to know, guys? Technique, positions, small details. Sure. Give me something. Give me something to be that you want to know, like as far as passing, sweeping, how to finish. Where are you guys getting stuck? You guys got to be stuck somewhere, right? Tell me. The importance of small details like grips. I cannot emphasize to you guys enough how important grips are. You know, in judo, people like spend like a good portion of the match doing what? Grip fighting, right? Grip fighting. They're always doing that. It's the same, you know, it's the same idea in jiu-jitsu. It's just that in jiu-jitsu, people don't spend a lot of time grip fighting for some reason to kind of accept the grips, right? But how I hold the gi and where I hold the gi does make a difference. I'll show you guys what I call a pocket grip. It's very simple. Whenever I want to grip his sleeve or pants or gi in general, I always have to be making an effort to dig my hand to it. So you wouldn't play spider guard like this, right? You wouldn't do that because my hand is going to slide like a credit card. And see, that's not a strong grip. What you always want to do is make sure your hand is going against the gi so it gets stuck in it, right? We get a little pocket there. We call this a pocket grip. A pocket grip could be used behind the elbow, on the inside of the elbow. Behind the elbow, a lot of people go like this, right? Which is not wrong, but it also slides. I always teach this right here. I dig my hand in there. It's a much stronger grip in my hand, like I create little pockets inside his gi, right? And when I do that, it's like I turn my hand into a meat hook. So it's a much stronger grip. When I go for the armpit here, for example, I don't just hold here, it breaks. I really try to dig my hand inside the sleeve. This is a much stronger grip, right? Very underutilized grip here on the chest. You can go in here and create a little pocket. You get a very strong grip, right? So everything I'm doing, I'm always trying to dig my hand in so my grips don't break. Because if you're dependent on finger strength to keep your grip, that's not a very solid foundation, right? You got to really try to turn your hand into a meat hook so those grips don't break. You ever been on someone's back and you're choking them out, and next thing you know, you can't choke them because your grip breaks, for example, right? These things happen, right? You're about to pass someone's guard, the grip breaks, and they recover guard. That's the kind of stuff we got to be avoiding, all right, people? It's very important. So where you hold and how you hold does make a difference. All right. Next question. Thanks again for the news. Appreciate it. Were you much of a turtle guard fan? I think defensively. Alex asked the question about turtle guard. Like, people ask about turtle guard as far as, I think it's very, very practical. It's very functional, but defensively, offensively, I never thought much of it. You can watch Eduardo Telly's, like, it's every time someone has attacked him, he has done really well. But every time people just stay defensive and don't engage with him, he has a hard time making his guard aggressive, because turtle really is a defensive kind of guard. In other words, if your opponent just wants to stall out and do nothing, he's going to get away with it. I wouldn't recommend turtle guard for offensive purposes, but I think everyone should learn it, because you're going to be there eventually. You got to learn how to defend yourself. Okay? Any tips for grip strength? Yes, just the basics. One thing I used to do, it's very simple, easy to remember. One thing I used to do a lot easier when you're lighter to do this, really, but I would have back in the day, I'd have either a gi or a rope, right? And I'd hold for 30 seconds. I'd hold isometric. So my arm will be at a 90-degree angle. Now, it wouldn't be all the way up here, right? This is comfortable, and I wouldn't be hanging either. I try to keep my elbow on a 90-degree angle, and I just hold my weight up for 5 sets of 30 seconds. 5 sets of 30 seconds. I do this every day. Keep it in mind, that was adjusted my body weight. If you're heavier, now I don't think I can do 5 of 30, maybe, probably not. Right? I was maybe 30 pounds lighter when I was doing this. So you might have to adjust. If you're a lot lighter, you should be able to do 45 seconds or 6 or 7 sets, right? So you can adjust according to difficulty. All I know is that if you drop too soon, it's too hard. You might need the help of a rubber band. And if you can stay up there for longer than if you're for 30 seconds, you're not even breaking a sweat. You just got to aim higher, maybe 40 seconds, 45 seconds. A good measuring stick is just, the fact that you can't hold yourself up. It's not a matter of will. Your hands cannot close around the rope or the belt or the gi, whatever you're holding, and it just, you just have to let go. But it's important to keep that 90-degree angle. That's where it's hardest, right? Anywhere else, it's going to be easier. All right. Matt, can you share some ideas from the front headlock? Do you generally prefer to take the back or finish with the front headlock? Very good question, Matt. As a rule, I always go for the back. The only time I attack the front headlock is when I can't get to the back. Right? It's important that you learn you have to know, when do I let go of the front headlock and go to the back. Normally, if my opponent's doing a good job locking the leg, right, he's not letting me get to the back, right? He has what we in wrestling call a horn. So I'll show you guys really quick. So if I were to go to Joey's back here, what Joey does is he clogs my leg. And in this case, if he's doing a good job here, I could try to peel the arm, right, and then go to the back, right? Or I could switch sides. Or I can start attacking the guillotine in the front headlock if that's what I really want. I'll show you guys a little trick. If I want to go to the back and not have to deal with the problem of the horn, I just put the back of my hand on his tricep. And I lean on my shoulder when I do this, right? So I'm planking on my shoulder. That makes him very heavy, and it makes me very light. If I'm carrying my weight on my knees and feet, that means Joey is fast and I'm slow. When I do this, it means he's slow and I'm fast, because every time he moves, he has to carry my weight. If he's carrying my weight, my feet are going to be a lot faster. So as a result, I'm able to get to turtle position very quickly. So all I have to do, I'll do it on the other side so you guys can see. So I'll be here, I block, and I just kind of shuffle my feet around to turtle position. Very simple. That's always my key go-to move, is the back, because to me, the back is the most important position in jiu-jitsu. Gi, no gi in MMA. If you had to choose one position to be great at, to me, it's the back. Attacking turtle position to the back. More important in guard, mount, side control, back is king. Because it's the position with the highest submission ratio. Look at the numbers, the facts. That's all that matters. I don't care about fashion. I don't care what people think. I don't care about your opinion. They don't mean anything to me. You got to look at the numbers. The rear naked choke is the #1 submission MMA and no-gi. What does that tell you? The number one submission in jiu-jitsu, the gi, is in between the armbar and the bow and arrow, right? You can do both. The bow and arrow is from the back. The armbar comes from the back as well. What does that tell you, right? I think that these things speak volumes as far as efficiency goes, okay? Keep that in mind, all right? Let me see. What else? Okay. Can you share some ideas? Okay. All right. Any advice for breaking posture for both passing and sweeping and close guard and no-gi? So your opponent's got a good posture and you're trying to break that posture. I'll give you some ideas. The problem with posture is that it's so simple and it works so well. All right, anyone can do it. So don't be frustrated if you can't break your opponent's posture, because it's a very common theme in grappling. Normally, if I can't break someone's posture and close guard, I open. I'm very impatient. I always think moving forward. I never want to be the guy, just like waiting for the fight to happen or trying to win the last second. I don't like that. Like, I get impatient. It's to the point where it might be even like a flaw to be so impatient, but I'm always trying to move forward. So when I'm dealing with a good posture and close guard, I'll give you guys some ideas. One of the ones I've been using the most lately is just like I keep reaching for that reverse kimura. So I reach across. I'm not doing this. I have to rotate my hands. My palm is facing him. And I'm always bringing my knees to my chest. And once I connect that kimura, here's the thing. It's not the best position in the world to attack from, but I do have I do have better options than he does. And I did bring his head down. So one thing I can start doing is I can throw shrimp into what? To start creating one. My favorite one here is a bicep slicer. All right. Some people call it the Barato Plata because that guy Barata does it a lot. A lot of times from here, I'm able to transition into an omoplata. I've been able to transition into a triangle from here. To pull the arm back in. So you have some of those options. But every time I'm doing this, what am I doing to his head? I bring it down. I can always let go. And I broke down his posture. I'll give you another one in the gi. And I've shown this before, but this guy right here, I hold a forefinger. So if Joey tries to connect his hand on my gi, he can't do it. And I go pocket grip on the elbow. How are you going to posture now? Try to posture there, Joey. And the reason he can't posture is because he's got nothing to hold himself up with. Now he's going to try to posture with that arm, but it's not going to stop me from getting what I want because I must move the arm across. And if I do that, I can always reach. And I dig my fingers on his back. And once I get this right here, if it tries to lift his head up, he's stuck because we're connected now. So long as my hand is strong there and that doesn't break, we're connected. There's no room for him to posture. So I always say that in jiu-jitsu, you can be weak everywhere and still be very good, except for one muscle group, hands. Hands got to be strong. There's no way out of it. You cannot be good at jiu-jitsu with weak hands. Just there's one muscle group that you have to be very, very athletic at, like way above average strength, hands, without a doubt. It helps with that a lot. The other ways of breaking posture are ways that you've seen before. I mean, you can swim inside, pummel. I'm trying to think. I mean, you guys have seen all this before. There's nothing unusual. I like that reverse kimura a lot, but a lot of times when Joey's posture, I'm always swimming inside, and I'm always trying to reach for the head, right? Because if I can swim inside and I can reach for the head, I can get on my side. Anytime I'm on my side, even no-gi, I have a lot to work with there. Now I can start going for sweeps, armbar, triangle, omoplata. Everything kind of comes in. Starts, falling into place for me. I'll show you guys another way. I haven't done this one in a long time, but this really works. So what I do is I raise this leg right here, and I connect my hands behind my knee. So what this does, it doesn't necessarily put him in a submission, but if Joey tries to lift his head up, he's stuck. I don't care how much he tries. And now from here, I can start in the gi. I can hold the lapel. So if I hold the back of his collar with my right hand, it frees up my left hand. And then I can start attacking omoplatas. But just by doing this right here, Joey's stuck. Even without one of my hands, it's hard for him to pull his head back because his arm's trapped. And it's easy to bring him back down because I got a free arm. So anytime I feel like I'm losing him, and it's easy to transition from to omoplatas from here. Of course, if you have the mobility for that, right? But again, if you don't have mobility, closed guard is not the best option in the world, my opinion. You should be looking for other ways of attacking your opponent other than closed guard, like butterfly, half guard. It'll be better options if you're not very flexible. All right. Okay, Kip Allen. What's the best exchange to have when passing a guard shield? We talked a little about this yesterday, but I'll show it again. One option here for the knee shield, right? I call it the China wall, assuming we're talking about the same thing. Just put your head over here. Oh, this one. All right. So I'm dealing with this guy right here. This is annoying, right? Everyone's been here before. Basically, there are two different families. I have to smash his knee or I have to open his knee, right? That's why Joey wants to keep his knee somewhere in the middle, but I got to bring it down or I got to bring it open. I could back out. That's an option. A lot of people go for that. Normally people always go through the middle. They're always trying to jam or just go through, bulldoze their way in. It's always harder. No matter how tight Joey here, I always like to pick up the foot. So one way of doing this is this guy right here. And what happens here is his knee gets stuck. He has to open his leg. Yes, he has to open the leg, right? He's going to be moving and pulling me in, but I have to, something like I reach behind the back of my pocket, and then I connect right here. And what happens here is he's going to have to extend. Now, when they have very small legs and they're very flexible, they repummel. So they have the room to repummel. This is a little bit harder when they're very short, right? So height here becomes a disadvantage. But if I can get this guy right here, I have one of my options is I grab the collar. I'm going to switch from right knee down to left knee down, and then I back step. Right? I just have to make sure I get this arm on the inside. Once again, this is how I get the arm on the inside. And it's almost like I'm knee locking him here, right? I feel like a little knee tweak on the inside of his knee. Most common thing for him to do is for him to stretch. And then I have to make sure I close that space quickly before he repummels. Because if he repummels, I go back to where I came from. So here, and I have to close that gap with my shoulder very quickly. And now it's easy to back step and pass because there's nothing stopping me anymore. Not the only way. Guys, we can talk about that China wall / knee shield all day. I can teach a whole seminar on that position. I'm just giving you guys ideas, but there are a lot of things that we can do from there. Okay. All right. Excellent interview with Galvão on the Breaking the Guard podcast. You and David have a great report between each other, and all the questions on one platform just kind of makes my life a little bit easier. But we'll go back and forth. Any advice for a judo guy playing guard? Depending on what level of judo you have. Hopefully you don't have to, be in guard, but you should develop one regardless, right? It kind of depends on your build, really, more than your judo skills. They're not going to help you per se. It's kind of they're very different as far as skill set goes. So having being good at grip fighting, hip throws, and foot sweeps, they're not going to help you in terms of guard. I would be paying more attention to your body type, what kind of body type you have, and then just have your game around that. What kind of body type you have in, long legs, good open guard, closed guard sort of thing. All right, team. All right. Do you have a favorite judo takedown against a jiu-jitsu player? Not really. The foot sweep is one I always teach. I'll tell you guys why. A lot of times when people pull guard, they pull guard in slow motion. Ever notice that? And if you get that shibarai very quickly, you score 2 points on the way down. You're not really taking them down. They happen to be pulling guard as you go for the foot sweep. And if that's the case, what happens is you have an easy 2 points. So I recommend that. But the thing is, I'll give you one that works really well against jiu-jitsu / wrestlers, Uchimata. And the reason for that is a lot of guys are going to enter into that double, right? If you can turn that double into an Uchimata or the single. So if you can turn that double into an Uchimata or that single leg into an Uchimata, that's a great counter. Highly recommend. I think Uchimata might be one of, to answer your question, that might be your best friend right there. Double and single are the two most common takedowns in BJJ. So Uchimata is a very good answer to that problem. Okay. Do you ever finish triangles with the arm on the far side of the body? Ferguson versus Lee. Or do you always
like this?
Yeah. When it's hidden?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not see that fight, but this is what I recommend. Moving the arm across, generally speaking, is a better triangle, right? Let me do it this side so you can see. Right? But when the arm is here about the triangle, the arm helps. But it's not the only thing going on in the triangle, right? Very important thing. So right now, look where my left leg is. It's on his back. So I have to adjust this triangle till it's on the back of his neck. You guys may not see the difference, but Joey feels it. There's a massive difference between being here. He's breathing. He's not comfortable, but he's breathing. When I go like that, that's night and day. I don't even have to move his arm across. I can feel if I squeeze my knees, he taps, right? And the reason for that is because the arm helps. Because it blocks. Look, there's a little breathing room right there. When I move that arm across, it closes, especially in the gi. Even the collar gets in the way. So it closes. But most of the choke, the noose, right? You should look at triangles and guillotines like a noose. The smaller you can make it, the better. Most people have a hard time locking the triangle or finishing the triangle because they're locking the leg on the shoulder blade. So just turn your back here for me, Joey. So if this were my leg that's on the back, they're going like across, right? And what they should be doing with their calf is blocking the back of the neck. That's where you want the triangle. So if I'm here, this is where the calf is. It's not going across the back. And it's very easy to do that. And most people are just trying to lock the triangle no matter what. All they have to do is shoulder shrimp, a little small adjustment backwards, and they can pull that ankle to the back of the neck, and then they lock the back of the knee on their shin. That's the other thing. You never want to lock the triangle on the foot. Simple as that. The arm is not ideal there, right, on the same side and without moving it across. But if you have a good triangle, it's not going to make a big difference, I promise you. The other thing, too, is if your opponent's a lot bigger than you and you got shorter legs, it's going to be harder to lock the triangle if his arm is parallel on the right side. Once you move the arm across, they become a little bit smaller, right? They're always going to be a little bit bigger here, over here. What's your favorite way to open and pass closed guard? Cheers from Brazil. All right, Fabão, really quick. I don't spend a lot of time, guys. I haven't seen anything revolutionary in terms of like opening closed guard since I was a white belt. It's been the same stuff over and over. There might be a new technique here and there, like a new detail. I haven't seen anything new in 20 years, to be honest. Like, it's all the same stuff. I will show you a few things that I've learned over the years that work better than others, and there's nothing new here. You guys have all seen this. Having an arm is ideal. That being said, I've seen people waste a whole match trying to fight for that sleeve, and they can't get it, and they don't stand up because they don't have the sleeve. I always look for the sleeve, but if I can't get it, I stand up without it. I'm like, oh, but they're going to go for that lumberjack sweep where Joey grabs my ankles and sweeps me. I would rather risk getting swept there than being stuck in his closed guard the whole fight. You know, I don't get swept there very often, never really, because there's the easy way to block that sweep, okay? And we can talk about that next. But one thing that I'm doing when I'm standing up, with or without the sleeve, is that I'll have his collar with one hand. If I don't have the sleeve, I'll have one hand on each collar, either or. But this is one of the most important things about opening closed guard that people don't get. Most of the work is going to come on the deep squat. People get lazy about it because they want to stand up, but they stand up with their butts up in the air, meaning Joey's still on the ground. If Joey's still on the ground, he's a big threat. I have to pick up Joey off the ground. And for me to do that, I have to bring him up with me. It is a little bit of work, guys, a little bit of leg work. Weak legs are a problem here. Heavier opponents can be a bit of a problem as well. But you got to do what you got to do, because if you stay on your knees, you're a sitting target. I'm going to go 1, 2. See, I'm in the deep squat kind of position. And now when I come up, it's quick. And I pick up Joey off the ground. Joey has to hold his weight now. You guys can't feel it, but Joey's 100% holding his weight on his ankles now. So when I begin to push, it's not just gravity pulling my knee pushing or my hand pushing his knee down. It's gravity is pulling him down. It's uncomfortable on his ankles because he's got gravity pulling his body weight down. The heavier he is, obviously, the harder this is going to be. But this is what most people do when they stand up, right? Let's say they didn't have a sleeve. And they stay here. You see that? Joey's got his shoulder blades on the ground. Joey's comfortable as it gets here. He can hang out here all day. If I turn on put on a TV series, he can watch 5 episodes in that position. He's not worried about it at all because there's no pressure on his ankles. And here I'm very vulnerable to sweeps, armbar, triangle. So I have to make sure his shoulder blades come off the ground. Once his shoulder blades are off the ground, he'll try to put his back on the ground. That's the thing. He'll try to suck me back down. But here's where balance and posture come in. If you can keep straight, they can't bring you back down, and then it's a lot easier to open because there's a lot of tension on his ankles when you stand up, okay? Very important. Once you open the closed guard, is a leg lock generally a good idea? Very good question, Matt. You open closed guard or you're passing guard. When do I go for a foot lock? The answer is it always depends. No one likes that answer, right? People want objective answers like yes or no, left or right. And jiu-jitsu is nothing like that. It's always depends. Because let's say I'm winning the fight. All right? By one advantage. I go for a foot lock. I miss. He comes up. What is that? That's 2 points. You lost the match. You see what I'm talking about? Oh, I don't like advantages. I don't either. But I don't make the rules. Neither do you. So you got to learn how to play by the rules, right? It is what it is. I'll give you another example. Let's say it's a self-defense situation. You're at a bar. Would you go for a foot lock? You're on top of someone in their guard. You stand up. Would you go for a foot lock at a bar, at a nightclub? Horrible idea. You're going to get stomped by random people passing by. Horrible idea. MMA. Also a bad idea, depending on when you're at. Why? If you get on top, the judges are always going to give the fight to who? The guy who's on top. And that's excluding the fact that he may be dropping bombs on you when he comes up. When do I go for a full lock? When I'm very confident I'm going to get it. You're like Felipe Andrew. You go for the foot lock, you get it 9 out of 10. Take those odds, right? They're in your favor. The other one is, let's say I'm getting killed in a fight here. There's 20-0. I'm way behind. I got 30 seconds left on the clock. There's no way I'm going to score 21 points in 30 seconds. So what do? You go for the kill. Because if they score another 2, who cares? I got nothing to lose. Or I'm way ahead. I'm 20-0. And I can't finish this guy, but I want to finish him. Instead of passing the guard and scoring another 3, go for the full lock. You got 30 seconds left. You really want to finish. It makes sense, right? So you have to look at the rules. You have to look at how much time you have left. I would look at who I'm fighting. There's some people that are very hard to tap with full locks. Others are easier. Your skill level versus your opponent's skill level. You have to factor everything in. And that's why it depends. No one likes that answer, but it's the most common answer in all of jiu-jitsu. It depends. All right. Do you have a favorite judo takedown against a jiu-jitsu player? We've answered that one. Do you like the north-south choke in the gi? No, I don't like the north-south choke in the gi. I've done it before, but the truth of the matter, between my arm and his collar, there's too much. It's too hard to get that noose tight on the neck, so there's always a little breathing room. It's very hard to adjust the north-south in the gi. Same reason it's hard to adjust the guillotine in the gi. If you notice, the guillotine in the gi is not a common position. Neither is a north-south, because it's hard to adjust the noose because of the collar and all the cloth that gets in the way. So to answer your question, not really. I avoid it if I can. I use it. Some variations. There are some other things we can do it for the most part. I'm not crazy about it. All right. All right. John Baroya is joining. Drysdale will fight for us when all this pandemic stuff is over. Good luck, man. Greg is one of my favorite people in the world. Thank you. Love your work and can't wait for the closed guard documentary. Do you have a good armbar setup that is your go-to? I do, and we showed it a while ago here on YouTube. I'll show it again because I got the same question. It's very simple. I just showed it briefly. I used it. It's funny because I didn't learn this till I was a black belt. So I learned the armbar as a white belt, but I didn't start using these details, until I was a black belt. But whenever Joey's on my closed guard, I'm always going for his hand. This is not illegal, but I always try to squeeze his fingers together. What that does, it stops Joey from what? From gripping. So if he tries to grip my collar, he can't do it, right? I'm always able to maneuver and prevent him from anchoring his hand. I can't stop him from pulling his elbow back, right? He can still do that. If I go like this over the top of the elbow, like everyone always does, this is very slippery. It doesn't hold. If Joey wants to pull his arm back, they normally win that fight. And that's why I go pocket grip here. I dig my fingers on the inside of his gi. You see that? Like I dig my finger, turn my hand into a meat hook. So now if Joey tries to grip, he can't. Try to pull your elbow back, he can't. This is too strong. Look how I bring Joey with me. I bring my knees to my chest and he can't stop me. You can try to stop me. Like you can't. There's nothing you can do. Right? If I get this right here, look, I can maneuver his arm any way I want. I bring my knees in and I reach for the far lat. Once I reach for that far lat, look how easy it is to get into that armbar position. It's right there, right? Very important when you armbar, you keep your your hips off the ground. So I'm always pushing my butt off the ground. Come here, the armbar, Joey. So what happens is my weight goes on my legs. If I'm doing this right here, guess what's heavy? My legs. If I put my butt on the ground, where's my weight? On the ground. So I'm always doing this when I'm armbarring. Very simple detail, but that I also learned later in life as a black belt. Something as simple as that. You would think that I would have always done, but I was so focused on this when it came to the armbar, I forgot to engage my legs and glutes. And that's a big part of the armbar. By pressing my feet down and raising my hips off the ground, I make myself a lot stronger. So my armbar now is so much harder to stop because I'm actually using my legs and my body in unison. Okay? All right. We got time for one more question. How do you draw more people into training, especially women? That's a very, very good question. How do you draw more women into jiu-jitsu? I have always, when women walk through the door, I treat them exactly the same. Like I've never, women in my class don't do push-ups on their knees. Like everything is normal. They get the exact same treatment as the men. And I think that helps. I think that, women, at the end of the day, they prefer, you don't want things to be done easier, right? But with that being said, a lot of times when they walk in, it makes it a little scarier for them. So they walk through the door and they feel intimidated by a male-dominated environment, right? So they walk through the door, and it's full of like men, and it's hard. Like it's not very few women are ready to be or willing to be in that sort of environment. So one thing I recommend all gyms do, and this is for every gym in the world, is that you make your gym as women friendly as possible. Make sure it's very clean. Make sure everyone's, the people working there are dressed nice. You can't have people with their shirts off. There's no swearing. There's no spitting in the bin. There's no walking around barefoot. Like hygiene. Women are big on hygiene. And the way the place looks, it has to look right too. Women are big on, like, they want to feel good. Everything from the music to the climate to the energy in the room. Like, these things are very important. Women. Guys pay less attention to this. From my experience, I know I don't care. Like, to me, as long as training is good, that's all I care about. But, like, that's not how everyone works. So women especially are very picky about the environment they're in. So you want to make it very friendly that way. And you want to convince them that, jiu-jitsu is for everyone. It is a lot of fun. So one thing we do at my gym is we do what we call a 15-day lesson plan, where we introduce jiu-jitsu to beginners in a way that's not threatening, it's not scary, in a way that they want to come back. And, one thing I tell them, and I always tell beginners this, that they cannot train for the first 15 days. The first 15 classes, and they can't train. And you would think that would scare them. They would want to run away and never come back. It's not the case. They want to come back, because, like, the most menacing thing about a gym is the fact that they have to train. So one thing you can do to your friends, if you have a girlfriend that wants to train, that is interested in jiu-jitsu but is a little scared, perhaps, this is what you want to tell them. You can't train. You're not going to train the first day. In fact, the second day, I'm not going to let you train. You kind of play the reverse psychology. And then they feel more comfortable because they know they're not going to have anyone sweating on top of them. And then you watch. They never get to day 15. By day 3, 4, they want to train. It's always the case. It's just they have to be comfortable walking to the gym, which is hard. They have to be comfortable getting on the mats, and they have to be comfortable doing positions with someone. Once you accomplish those 3 things, getting them through the door, getting them on the mats, and getting them doing positions with someone, rolling comes next. And when that happens, it's a wrap. They're always hooked. I think women like jiu-jitsu as just as much as men do, no different. I think the only reason we have more men doing jiu-jitsu than women is because a lot of times it's a threatening environment, and we don't always welcome women the right way. Like, women have the wrong idea of what the culture and attitude inside of BJ Jam is going to be like. We have to make sure that we change that, right? So if you have a friend and you want them to train, I would invite them. And I said, you cannot, I would say, you can't train today. You're just going to watch me. And the next day, you're just going to get on the mats. You can only watch. You cannot roll. We're not going to let you roll. And them hearing that is encouraging, right? So they don't feel like it's a threatening place to be or a threatening environment anyway. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Okay, we'll be back next week. We'll be doing more. Okay, so. Not Friday. Friday is my day off. On Monday, we'll be back at 5 p.m. doing the same thing live on YouTube and Instagram. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. We prefer you guys on our YouTube channel. It's easier for me to communicate with you guys that way. Okay. It's Drysdale Virtual Academy on YouTube, and then all you got to do is subscribe, participate in the live chats and Q&A, and we'll be doing this throughout the quarantine. Okay. I hope you guys are all healthy. A few tips for those of you out there: lots of water, lots of healthy food, lots of sleep. Go out there in the sun. Try if there's a park by your house, go for a walk, get some sun. Just do your best to stay healthy. Keep a strong immune system. That's your best defense against the coronavirus, people. I keep saying it. Make sure you're getting lots of sleep. That's going to strengthen your immune system. If you got a strong immune system, the virus won't touch you. Okay? Love you guys. See you next time. Ciao.